वे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवं च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखावितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिया। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुव एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Thank you once again, Mataji, for that beautiful Mangacharan and starting us off today. Today we are continuing with the Srimad Bhagavatam discourse, and we are still on Canto 3.
Recording in progress.
And we are on Canto 3, chapter 15, and today we are doing verse 48. Let me share screen so that you can start as wait for Mataji to join. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, chapter 15, verse 14. Would anyone want to take us through the Sanskrit for today?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I will try to read it. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Natyantikam viganyantye apite prasadam kim vanyad arpita bhayam Bhruva unnayaiste ye angyatvad angri sarana bhavata katayah kirtanya tirthayasha sa kushalarasagnaha natyantikam vignayantyapite prasadam
Natyantika viganayante apite prasadam
Kim vanyad arpita bhayam bruva unyaiste
Kima vya ayad arpita bayam bruva unyayiste
ye angyatvad angri sharana. One second. Okay. Ye angyatvad angri sharana bhavata katayaha.
Yenangratvat angri sharana bhavataha katayaha
Kirtanya tirtha yashasaha kushalarasagnaha.
Kirtanya Trita Yashafaha Kusala Rasanjana.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We can continue.
Okay, Prabhuji. Should I read the translation?
Yes. Everybody,
Oh.
thank you to join.
Okay, Prabhuji. Persons who are very expert and most intelligent in understanding things as they are engage in hearing narrations of the auspicious activities and pastimes of the Lord, which are worth chanting and worth hearing. Such persons do not care even for the highest material benediction, namely liberation, to say nothing of other less important benedictions like the material happiness of the heavenly kingdom. Purport: the transcendental bliss enjoyed by the devotees of the Lord is completely different from the material happiness enjoyed by less intelligent persons. The less intelligent persons in the material world are engaged by the four principles of benediction called dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Generally, they prefer to take to religious life to achieve some material benediction, the purpose of which is to satisfy the senses. When, by that process, they become confused or frustrated in fulfilling the maximum amount of sense enjoyment, they try to become one with the Supreme, which is, according to their conception, mukti or liberation. There are 5 kinds of liberation, the least important of which is called sayujya, to become one with the Supreme. Devotees don't care for such liberation because they are actually intelligent, nor are they inclined to accept any of the other 4 kinds of liberation, namely, to live on the same planet as the Lord, to live with Him side by side. Where did I? Yeah, to live with him side by side as an associate, to have the same opulence, or to attain the same bodily features. They are concerned only with glorifying the Supreme Lord and his auspicious activities. Pure devotional service is Shravanam Kirtanam. Pure devotees who take transcendental pleasure in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord do not care for any kind of liberation. Even if they are offered the 5 liberations, they refuse to accept them, as stated in the Bhagavatam in the 3rd canto. Materialistic persons aspire for the sense enjoyment of heavenly pleasure in the heavenly kingdom. But devotees reject such material pleasure at once. The devotee does not even care for the post of Indra. A devotee knows that any pleasurable material position is subject to be annihilated at a certain point. Even if one reaches the post of Indra, Chandra, or any other demigod, he must be dissolved at a certain stage. A devotee is never interested in such temporary pleasure. From Vedic scriptures, it is understood that sometimes even Brahma and Indra fall down. But a devotee in the transcendental abode of the Lord never falls. This transcendental stage of life, in which one feels transcendental pleasure in hearing the Lord's pastimes, is also recommended by Lord Chaitanya. When Lord Chaitanya was talking with Ramananda Raya, there were varieties of suggestions offered by Ramananda regarding the spiritual realization. But Lord Chaitanya rejected all but one, that one should hear the glories of the Lord in association with pure devotees. That is acceptable for everyone, especially in this age. One should engage himself in hearing from pure devotees about the activities of the Lord. That is considered the supreme benediction for mankind. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Oh, Hare Krishna, dear devotee, my devotees. Hare Krishna. I am Sri Mataji. Thank you so much for reading today's purport, very powerful purport. Sri Mataji has not yet joined us. I can repeat the purport. We can repeat the translation. It's very powerful. It says, persons who are very expert and most intelligent in understanding things as they are, engaged in hearing narrations of auspicious activities and pastimes of the Lord, which are worth chanting and worth hearing. Such persons do not care even for the highest material benediction, which is liberation, to say nothing of other less important benedictions, like the material happiness of the heavenly kingdom. Wow. I have to say it's always an honor to hear these narrations and auspicious activities and the pastimes of the Lord in your company, especially from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Mataji has joined. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept our humble obeisances on behalf of everyone who has joined today's session and those who will also see this over on YouTube or even join later on. Thank you so much for giving us your association today as we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We've done the Mangacharan and we've read the verse and the translation and the purport. Thank you again. Over to you, Mataji.
Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschaita Deshatarani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, dear devotees, in this chapter, we are all seeing that the four Kumaras have reached Vaikunta. And there is a conversation that is happening between the four Kumaras and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has reached the seventh gate of Vaikunta. So, what has happened till now? If you look at it in the previous chapter, we saw that Diti was very much agitated because she did not have a child, and also she was agitated by lust. So she wanted to unite with Kashyapa, her husband, but the time happened to be inappropriate. So she could not tolerate her urge. Therefore, she conceives two sons who are going to be demons. That is the prediction. She holds them, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, within her womb for 100 years so they don't come out and start afflicting the Devatas. But even while within their womb, they start afflicting the Devatas. All the planetary systems becomes without light. Devatas lose their power. So they become very concerned. They approach Brahmaji to seek clarification. So Brahmaji tells them the background story. He says that once the Kumaras, they were wandering everywhere, and by the arrangement of the Supreme Lord, they actually reached Vaikunta, even though they were not qualified. So they easily could cross the 6 gates, but at the 7th gate, they were stopped by Jaya and Vijaya. Jaya and Vijaya actually become very angry because they tried to enter the gate without the permission. And clearly, they were not qualified. So the question then comes, okay, why are they not qualified? Bhagavatam says they were Brahmagyanis. Brahmagyanis can't enter Vaikunta. They were allowed to enter only Brahmajyoti. The problem was that, again by Lord's arrangement to stop them, was correct, but the stopping of them, if you look at it, it was not done respectfully, right? They were not respectfully stopped. So the Lord is also Namo Brahmanya Devaya. He is very kind to the Brahmanas. But again, in this scenario, the respect was not there accordingly given to the Kumaras that they deserve. Kumaras, that's why they became very angry. And then they cursed Jaya and Vijaya to go to the material world. And Jaya and Vijaya realized this, that the nature of the curse, they were distressed. The Lord again would be displeased by their actions. So they immediately fall at the feet of four Kumaras. And they spoke, "My dear sir, may your curse come true, no problem. But we may not lose the memory of the Lord." So in the meantime, what happens? Lord arrives with Mother Lakshmi. And the beauty of the Lord is described. His rupa, rasa, sparsha, gandha, and shabda. The Kumaras experience that rupa, gandha, and shabda. They hear the words of the Lord. They experience that fragrance of the tulsi leaves. It is mentioned how the experience of not just the fragrance, but having the darshan of the Lord and hearing his words make them fall from the position of Brahman. That is, they could feel that the experience here was, the bliss was much greater than that of Brahman. So at this point, Kumaras, they start speaking to the Supreme Lord. They say, "My dear Lord, we have attained your mercy, and through your mercy, we have attained your mercy through Brahmaji." And how did the four Kumaras, if you ask this question, how do they become qualified to see the Lord? It has come through the agency of a devotee, right? The agency was Brahmaji himself, who said to the Kumaras, "Now you're all Brahman realized. You're all relishing the pleasure of Brahman realization." But one day, Brahmaji mentioned that they would relish the form of the Lord. At that time, they will understand that the feeling that they experienced with Brahman is tucha or insignificant. Are you all able to understand, dear devotees? So that's why we keep on saying, how can we get prema? Only through the mercy of one who has prema can give prema to others. So, that is why we seek the blessings of the devotees to get anything whatsoever we may need. If a devotee can bless us with that mercy, and that mercy forms as the seed to get the bliss or to get the mercy of Krishna or anything, that was all connected to the mercy of the devotee. So again, if you look at it here, it is through Brahmaji's mercy that the agency of the devotee was Brahma himself, who said to the Kumaras, "And see, now you are all Brahman realized, and you're relishing the Brahman. But one day you will realize the form of the Lord. At that time, you will reject that the Brahman realization is tucha or insignificant." And this is the first symptom of bhakti. So when the seed of bhakti is sown within your heart, the first symptom is that one starts recognizing the role of devotees in one's life. Otherwise, they can't realize it, right? Prashade Govinde Naham Brahmini Vaishnave Shwalpa Punya Vadam Rajan Vishwaso Naiva Jayate. So for those who have Swalpa Punya, they cannot see the transcendental nature of the touch of the Mahaprashadam or the form of the Lord or the name of the Lord or the Vaishnavas. "My dear Lord, till now we have been Gyanis," they are saying, "but now we have become devotees." Right? So that is our good fortune. And now we realize that the personality whom Brahma was mentioned, that his form is more blissful than the form of the Brahman. And now we realize that form is you, my Lord. And we have realized this because now we realize that we have become Vaishnavas. So how do we know that we have become Vaishnavas and we have received that bhakti? And here is the proof. So they are saying, as soon as we are cursed by devotees, if we had been jnanis, we would not have had the repentance. The fact that there is a deep remorse feeling for having behaved this way with Jaya and Vijaya shows that our qualification or our adhikara has changed. We have become devotees now. Otherwise, sages fixed with impersonal Brahman, without bhakti, they do not repent. So that's why we feel that there is that transformation that has happened in us. All the while we are hearing and we were amused seeing these Vaishnavas, how they were rejecting Brahma Jyoti. And they were telling, "We want to only go to Vaikunta to have a personal relationship with the Lord." We could not understand why they were not considering Brahma Jyoti or merging with the Brahman to be their mercy. But now that we have received the seed of bhakti, we realize that they were rejecting impersonal Brahmajyoti just for tasting that rasa is that rasa. Why? Because they are all experts. These people who have rejected Brahmachodi, they are all experts in tasting rasa. Therefore, they rejected. And in the next verse, they will go a step further and say, my dear Lord, what to speak of liberation? If you want us to send to hell, we are ready to go to hell. But give us one promise. You have to promise that our minds will be always meditating on you. Our ears will always be hearing your Krishna Katha. Our tongue has to always speak Krishna Katha. As long as you give us that benediction, you can always send us to hell also. Can you believe what a transformation these Kumaras are going through? What does this show? This means that they have become Kushala Rasagnya. They are experts now in tasting the rasa. But as you all can understand, they have committed this offense to the personal associates of the Supreme Lord, Jaya and Vijaya. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura, in his commentary, he says they were Brahmagyanis. By Lord's arrangement, they could have gotten prema, but because they offended Jaya and Vijaya, not just they offended, they also cursed Jaya and Vijaya. Therefore, they could only attain Shantarati. Shantarati is a very rudimentary form of prema. So they will not. So Srimad Bhagavatam obviously is giving us these extreme examples to drive home points very powerfully, dear devotees. If you look at some parallel that we have seen in Srimad Bhagavatam, again, it is the life of Ajamil. We can definitely see a contrast life of Ajamil and the four Kumaras. In one hand, you have Ajamil, he is a sinful person. He is extremely sinful. He chanted the holy name and not even called out to the Supreme Lord, but he called his own son. And Ajamil attained Vaikuntha or Prema. On the other hand, the sons of Brahma, the four Kumaras, they had no sinful inclinations, but they were deprived of attaining Prema. Why? If you see in the example of Ajamil, Ajamil's case is very unique. But to understand, he was not offensive. He had no trace of offense or very little offenses which he had committed before. This is a rare case. It's not possible. He was extremely sinful, offensive. Then the holy name, being the Lord himself, would not have chosen for him to be responded to. The holy name is powerful, but the holy name will not respond because of offense. Right? Because people will say, oh, holy name is not powerful. They'll say, they will not develop a taste in the holy name or faith in the holy name. And or if Ajamil was a powerful person and if he chanted the holy name and attained prema, people will say, oh, Ajamil attained this only because of his piety. So now we have to create this unique situation where the person is extremely sinful, but at the same time he is free of offenses. So this is where, Srila Prabhupada comes to give us an example that, okay, see, let's say, for example, there are 5 parameters and you have to keep 4 parameters constant and one parameter is constantly changing. So the thing is, for all practical purposes, the parameters are all functioning. But if you want to study the role of one such parameter, you have to keep the other parameters also constant. In the case of Ajamil, a unique situation was created where his offense was kept constant at 0. So the potency of the holy name can be studied, right? So he started calling out his sons. He attained perfection. But in the case of Kumaras, their sins were 0. They were absolutely sinless. Now you have to study the effect of offenses in your bhakti. So if you say 4 Kumaras were sinful and if they did not progress in bhakti, they would say it's because of sin. So here a prototype was chosen where they were absolutely sinless, but because of the offense, they were deprived of prema. Right? So that's why, like when it comes to Bhagavatam, it gives us the permutations and combinations. Yes, offense can take the person away from prema. So this is where we'll have to understand. Yes, offenses are very, very powerful. They can take it. I mean, they are so powerful that they can even take away the prema that you are eligible for. Ajamil's case, he attained Vaikuntha. What then to speak if one chant with the faith? In Ajamil's case, to show the power of the holy name, it was Hajamil's scenario was mainly to show us how powerful the holy name is. And Kumara's case is to show how effect of the offenses can work out. So we see these unique examples in Srimad Bhagavatam. In our case, it's like you have a car that's going in traffic and the car is capable of going fast, but the traffic wouldn't allow the car to go that fast. So similarly, however sinful we may be, if we are also offensive, the holy name is capable, but the capability of the holy name is not seen if offenses are there. The offenses will not allow the potency of the holy name to be seen. So that's why it's very important chanting, hearing, taking darshan of the deities. All this is going to help us in the process of bhakti. But if offense is continuously there and if we are stirring up the offenses, the actual potency of the bhakti cannot be felt. Um, so there is a scripture called Brihad Bhagavatamrita. It is the story of Gopakumar. And here in this Gopakumar story, he is actually powered by his Gopal mantra, which he received from his guru. He's going to one planet to another planet to see what is there, and he also wants to see if his desire resonates with what the planet has to offer. So he reaches in this particular storyline where we are going to see he's in Brahmaloka, where Brahma is there. He's in Satyaloka, right? In that Satyaloka, the Vedas are there in the personified form, in the form of rishis. So he observed some stages, the two groups of sages are having a debate. So he had come from Bhuloka up till Satyaloka, and he saw some of the sages were glorifying a person of Bhuloka, and he was surprised. How come a Bhulokavasi they are glorifying? So he asked, why are you glorifying them? They said because he attained mukti. And then he asked, what is mukti? Can you please tell? So they tell him about mukti and he gets attracted to mukti, that is Sajya mukti. Then he asked them, Gopakumar is asking those rishis how to attain this mukti. So now he saw two different set of sages had two different opinions. One sage said, by the path of jnana, one can attain mukti. The other group of sages say, by the practice of bhakti only, one can attain mukti. So, these two sages were the Gunibhuta Shastras and Pratanibhuta Shastras. So, Gunibhuta Shastras means the Shastras which promote karma, jnana and yoga with a little bit of bhakti. And the other Shastras, which is Pratanibhuta Shastras, they talk about bhakti predominantly with a little bit of karma, jnana and yoga mixed. So, these Gunibhuta Shastras and Pratanibhuta Shastras, they are having a debate. So the Pradhanibhuta Shastras become very angry. They started giving a lot of proofs with slokas quoting that how bhakti only can help a person attain mukti. And only without bhakti, nobody can attain mukti like that. And there is no doubt about it. Like that, they kept quoting different verses to prove their point. And Gopakumar was noticing that one of the stages, they were smiling and they kept quiet. They were just smiling. But somehow or the other, Gopakumar, he looks at their faces and understands that they are keeping quiet despite knowing something. He could understand that. So who were they? They were the Guru Shastras, the Shuddha Bhakti Shastras, like Gopala Tapani Upanishad, Srimad Bhagavatam, and so on and so forth. In their personified forms, in the form of sages, they kept quiet. They were smiling, but they just kept quiet like this. They didn't participate in the debate. And so, why did they keep quiet? Our author of Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Srila Sanatan Goswami Path, he explains that they were thinking, look at the power of Lord's Maya, that by which the essential conclusions of the Shastras is hidden, even for the most intelligent people, the Shastras themselves. So then, while they were thinking like this, the debate continued. The debate continued very fiercely, actually. At some point, the Guru Shastras could not tolerate it. They closed their eyes and they walked away from the assembly. Why did they walk away from the assembly? Because they thought that they should be discussing the glories of holy name, But actually, they are minimizing the power of the holy name, right? Some people are telling holy name is not powerful, only by jnana you can attain. Other people are telling holy name is so powerful, it can give you mukti. But they are not discussing actually the true glory of the holy name, which is for the holy name to give prema. So they could not tolerate that. People are not telling about the main benefit of what this holy name could give. They are just talking about the side benefits. That's why they could not tolerate this and they walked away. Anyways, the principal Upanishads in their personified form, they came to mediate this debate and they said, Pradhani Bhuta Shastras, you win. You know, it is only by bhakti that one can attain mukti. So Gopakumar, he became very happy because he obviously believed in the power of the Gopal mantra that he was given, that he was very much attached to the path of bhakti that he was practicing himself. But anyways, immediately, he immediately remembered the Gura Shastras. He understood that they have something very valuable to give. So he very much ran behind them. He pacified them and called them back to the assembly. I feel that you have something very valuable to say, Gura Shastras. Can you please tell me what do you have? They said, actually, what we have is very confidential. It cannot be told to everyone and anyone. But we see you're qualified, so therefore we will tell you what it is. So, like that, they started to speak. We are Shuddhabhakti Shastras. We may sometimes discuss liberation, but when we discuss liberation, why we discuss liberation is to discourage people from pursuing it. We speak about liberation only to discourage people. We condemn liberation to establish the superiority of bhakti to those people who are attached to mukti. We may sometimes talk about mukti, which is attained by bhakti. We speak like that, but it is only to attract those people who are attracted to mukti. But we never recommend mukti as the final goal because there is no real trace of happiness in mukti at all. But sometimes we have to talk about mukti for another reason because we have to actually compare the joy of mukti to joy of prema. For that sake, we have to have that mukti. So this is what it is. In the state of liberation, there is no material suffering. Again, if you also note, there is no positive joy there. In fact, the whole concept of bondage and liberation are illusory. Srila Sukadev Goswami says, bondage and liberation is like a dream. And even the Shastras which promote mukti, they agree that mukti is attractive only to those people who lack discrimination. And if you see Sahyajya Mukti, that one is aspiring for, that is Brahman, it's devoid of qualities. Brahman has no compassion, no Bhakta Vatsalya. But Bhagavan, who is sought after for those who aspire prema, he is Kalyana Guna Sagara. He is the ocean of all auspicious qualities. He is Bhakta Vatsalya. And one may worship Brahman, but Brahman has no attachment to the worshipper. But Bhagavan has greatest attachment to the worshippers. Which means what? What does this mean, dear devotees? Which means when you worship Brahman, Brahman's heart will not melt out of love for the worshipper. But the Lord, he undergoes positive spiritual vikaras. Ashtashatvika vikaras can happen. His heart melts, and all of a sudden, that Brahman is inactive. It has no attractive pastimes. But the Supreme Lord, in relationship with the devotees in the spiritual world, is filled with attractive pastimes, which is so attractive to the heart of the devotee. Therefore, there is that intense bliss in realizing the lotus feet of the Lord. What tangible happiness in comparison that you can expect from Brahman realization? Then Gopakumar asked, why are these mumukshus or those who are aspiring after liberation, why are they so attracted to liberation? Why do they glorify liberation? These Gura Shastras, they say, because they don't have adhikar. They are completely tormented by material sufferings and they are devoid of spiritual rasa. They cannot understand the bliss of prema. They can't understand the fact the bliss of prema continuously increases. And the happiness of moksha is static, it's very static. Therefore, the Guru Shastras say the mukti that they are aspiring after is very insignificant. And you know what, Gopakumar? You should actually understand the three pramanas. What are the three pramanas? Because the qualification of bhakti should come from Bhakti Shastras, that is Shuddha Bhakti Shastras. So one should have faith in Bhagavata Shastras, Bhagavatam. They should not criticize, if they have faith in Shuddha Bhakti Shastras, of course, they are not supposed to be criticizing the other Shastras. You should actually, Buddha Shastras telling Gopakumar, you should look into Shuddha Bhakti Shastras, the word of Mahatmas and the action of the Mahatmas. These are the three pramanas that you should look into. And then these Shuddha Bhakti Shastras say, Kapil Dev, what did he do? He said, Bhakti is superior to liberation from Srimad Bhagavatam. Like this, they keep giving proof after proof to Gopakumar to prove the point that others are tutsha when compared to Bhakti. So this is what is going on in the Gopakumar story. And this was again to illustrate the fact, dear devotees, that Bhakti is far superior and how Krishna himself, he comes into picture. And that love that he shows to his devotees is seen clearly when it comes to Bhakti. If you have Bhakti, Krishna will reciprocate his mercy to you because you've given him Bhakti. You have bhakti towards him. But when it comes to Brahman realization, there is no exchange of love. It's very static. There is no that positive love that we are talking about. This is the point. Again, I'll also try to speak about some other aspects that is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So while Krishna and Balaram, they were residing in Dwaraka, Balramji was remembering the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the sweet and loving relationship he had with the gopis and his friends, the supreme affectionate that he received from Yashodamma and Nanda Maharaj, the relationship he had with the cows. He began to remember the beautiful activities or pastimes between Krishna, the Gopas, and the Gopis. He was feeling within his heart the deep pains of separation they must be experiencing. So he decided to go to Vrindavan to pacify the separation of the devotees that are there, the Vrajavasis who are experiencing that viraha. One may ask why Krishna did not go. Krishna wanted to go, but the Yadus, his mother, Devaki, his father, Vasudev, his queens, and the friends, they wouldn't allow him to go. Krishna was very much captured by the love of the devotees. Right? When he saw his inclination that if you go, there is a doubt that the loving dealings of the Gopas and the Gopis are so sweet, they are supremely enjoyable to you. They sacrifice everything for you. After you have been away from them so long, if you go back, they will never leave you again and they won't be able to leave, and you won't be able to leave them. You'll be very much captivated, you'll be enchanted, you'll be captivated by their love, and you will never be able to leave Vrindavan. So that is the problem why Krishna couldn't go. That's why he had to stay in Dwaraka. Krishna revealed that another time that every day he would go to Vrindavan into the heart of the Gopas and the Gopis. Although they did not see him physically with their eyes, in their deep separation from him, they were experiencing in total absorption of Krishna. His love they were feeling. That is unparalleled to anything this world has to offer. In these feelings of separation, Krishna was giving the residents of Vrindavan the highest ecstasies. The ecstasies that can be seen in the heart, that can be felt in the heart, that was given to these devotees. he knew if he went, he didn't go back to the Yadus, they would die. And if he went to Vrindavan and left again, they will die. But just because of the promise Krishna had made that he would return, was keeping them alive. And he was entering into their hearts and performed the loving pastimes with them, nourishing them with that infinite, pure spiritual love. Balaram, he boarded his chariot and he went to Sri Vrindavan Dham. He arrived, and how happy the Vrajavasis were. After so long, they saw Balramji returned. Nanda Maharaj and Yashodama, even though now Balaram was a great prince they saw Balaram. It has been many years. He was just a little boy with Krishna. He would go to fight with Kamsa. Now he's just a little boy that they have seen, and now imagine Krishna has gone to fight with Kamsa. But they still see him as that little Balaram. They put on their laps and they embrace him and kissed him. They asked him many questions. How is your health? How are you? How are the inhabitants of Yadu dynasty? They must be living very happily since the vicious king Kamsa has been killed. Now from Mathura, you all move to Dwaraka. You must be very protected and happy there. Please tell us. They were asking about different individuals. And Balaram was answering every question that they posed. He greeted everyone according to their positions. To the senior cowherd men, the ladies, he offered obeisances with the folded palms. He greeted them. To his friends, he embraced and joked with them. He spoke all friendly words to them. To those juniors, they offered obeisances to him, and he in turn gave blessings to them. The Vrajavasis, they offered him a nice seat. They offered him good prasadam and then a nice seating place where he took rest. Then the gopis, Balram saw the gopis looking at him from a little distance. They inquired that Krishna, did he ever remember us? Does he remember Nanda Maharaj and Yashodama, who gave their hearts and souls and everything only for him? Does he remember Vrindavan, Govardhan, Yamuna, the beautiful trees of Kadamba, Tamal trees? Does he remember us, the gopis? When he played his flute and called for us, we abandoned everything. We abandoned our mother, our father, our husband, our brothers, our sister, prestige, home, wealth, everything only for his pleasure. We abandoned everything and went for him when he was playing on the flute. Um, but all we could do now is thinking of him, thinking of his beautiful smiles, his beautiful, wonderful gestures, his dancing, his sweet words. That's what we are doing now. Another gopi is saying, why are we always thinking of him? He doesn't think of us. So why we should think about him? Another gopi is saying, he may not think of us, but we cannot stop thinking of him. We gopis, we are different people. We are not ordinary people. If any girl loves a boy as much as we love Krishna, then in separation they will die. They will not be able to maintain their lives. It is impossible. Neither the lover nor the beloved could possibly tolerate such a separation. They have to die. But we gopis, we are in this ocean of separation, yet we are living. Yet we live. This is the fate. This is our destiny that is written in our foreheads. They were inquiring about Krishna in every possible way, especially wondering now, what's going on with him. His sweet words, his enchanting smiles that capture the hearts so much. They were thinking of Krishna in every possible way. They would make garlands for Krishna. Before that, they would start picking up flowers for Krishna. They would cook for Krishna. They will dance for Krishna. They will dress again for Krishna. They would live, every bit of life was for Krishna. They would live for Krishna, thinking of every detail of what Krishna would like. That's what was going on in their everyday lives. Every day they will simply wake up when Krishna is going to come. Krishna is promised he will come. That kept them alive. That the promise that he has made, he will come, that kept them alive. In the earliest of the mornings, they would make their garlands, wonderful sweet preparations, all of which Krishna would like. They would dress themselves. Everything either physically or in their heart of hearts with the hope that Krishna would come that day. That's why they would dress. But when the sun was set, they would simply cry all night long. Then the next day, in their heart of hearts, they will again understand, okay, Krishna will come. Just because of that very fact that Krishna has given a promise he would come, they would wait for the next day that yes, They will do the same set of activities, hoping that Krishna will come again. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains how that Krishna left Vrindavan Dham, gopis cried to the rest of their lives. Now, because of that this fire of separation, that is Gopi Bhav, their love was increasing every day. In their separation, the pains were increasing with every moment. The gopis cried, they couldn't control themselves. Even in front of Balaram, who's Krishna's elder brother, where the gopis in general would be very restrained and respectful towards him. Seeing him and remembering Krishna, so they cried. And Balaramji, he felt so deeply in his heart for them. Previously, Uddhava saw this. He was sent from Mathura with a message from Krishna to the gopis. He saw the same experience of the gopis in separation, right? Uddhava, who was the Krishna's most good friend in the entire Yadu dynasty, practically he was a constant companion. It's not that he felt sorry for the gopis. Most of us think why Krishna would put them in such a separation. They were crying, they seemed to be suffering, but Uddhava saw them crying in separation and understood the highest expression and the deepest ecstasy of love was prema bhakti. Uddhava was thinking, I have no relationship with Krishna compared to them. There is no love in my heart when I put myself before the gopis. They assumed in the fire of love. They are consumed in the fire of love. They cannot think of anything or anyone except Krishna, and it's always increasing. Even though physically Krishna was so far in the hearts, not a moment passes when they were rendering so much service to Krishna. And the perfection was samadhi. Samadhi means complete absorption. The impersonal samadhi is to completely be absorbed in Brahman, right? But the gopis were far beyond that. 24 hours a day, gopis were just engaged in remembrance of Shyamasundara. They were making garlands, they were cooking, they were dressing, they were dancing again because of the feeling that the Krishna would be there anytime for them. Uddhava, upon seeing, he wanted to take the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis, but being a great prince of the regal city of Dwaraka, to take the dust from the lotus feet of gopis would, you know, uh, that was, he just wanted to be a little creeper in the ground with the hope that the gopis would step on his head with their lotus feet. Actually, Uddhava just saw that the gopis were so devoted to Krishna. He just wanted to be a creeper, to be an important associate of Krishna and Dwaraka. What a humble position that he wanted to be a little creeper in the pasture of Govardhan. Nobody knows he was there. He was completely 100% totally unknown. He just wanted to be another piece of grass, Trinatapi Sunichena. He was literally more humble than even a blade of grass. He chose over being a prince of Dwaraka as Krishna's best friend. This is how much honored he felt because of the love of Rajavasis. So the Balaram here, he was seeing the gopis crying in absorption for love for Krishna, ultimate samadhi, and he meditated on Krishna and he brought Krishna into his mind to pacify the gopis. Before he left, Krishna gave messages for the gopis to Balaram. But now Sri Balaramji, in the heart of hearts, meditating on Krishna and bringing Krishna to personally manifest within his heart and mind, he spoke those messages. It was just as Krishna was speaking those messages personally to the gopis that they could feel. In every word Balaram spoke, they could hear Krishna's voice. They could feel Krishna's love so intimately, and they were pacified. We speak of Balaram being the original Guru, the servant of Godhead, who is always facilitating the loving relationship between the Lord and his devotees. He especially went to Vrindavan for that purpose. He is our original Guru. He is the one who could connect us and the Lord together. So we all know there are a set of gopis, those were his own gopis also. They were younger than the gopis that Krishna performed Rasa Leela. With those gopis, he performed his Rasalila at a place called Sri Ramghat, which is quite a distance from Vasimbhata in Vrindavan, the bank of Yamuna. There, Lord Balaramji, he also sang and danced. Our Acharyas explained that when Krishna and Balaram were living in Vrindavan near Govardhan, once Balaram with the gopis and Krishna with his gopis, and Sankachida came to steal the gopis away from Krishna because they were so beautiful. He was very close to Kuvera, who is the treasurer of the demigods. He was very wealthy and he had a magnificent jewel that was kept on his head. Because he was so wealthy and so handsome and so strong and so learned, he could not tolerate anyone. This was his mentality when he became proud, when we think what that we deserve. When we think we deserve so much what we want, we naturally become envious. When we become very powerful, people listen to you. It becomes intolerable when you don't get your way. Sankachuda could not imagine. No one can enjoy these ladies except me. That was his thought process. So he took the gopis away. They were crying, Krishna, Balaram. Krishna told Balaram, you take care of the gopis, I'll take care of him. He ran after Sankachuda and Sankachuda ran away. Then Krishna punched him. That was the end of Sankachuda. He took away his jewels and presented that to Balram. Balram here is doing that dancing and exchanging pure spiritual loving relationships at Ramghat. Then Varuna, the lord of sea, sent his daughter Varuni to take the form of a to take the form of a highly celestial beverage. The fragrance of the beverage was so enticing, and the effect of drinking the delicious beverage would intoxicate one's mind. But it's not the intoxications that people take in our city, right? No. It is Varuni, it has a divine experience. So Balaramji, he smelled the hollow of the Kadamba tree, this Varuni beverage, and he said to the gopis, let us search out for the source of this fragrance. When they came close to the nectar, they called out, oh Balaram, my father, Varuna just sent me this joy for you to enjoy. So, the more you read Srimad Bhagavatam, it appears that Varuni is something like a divine beverage, that is something like honey, but beyond honey by millions and millions of times. But Balram began to drink it and began to feed the gopis. So, Balramji's eyes were rolling in ecstasy of intoxication. Then the gopis were laughing and dancing, and Balramji was dressed in these blue garments. His beautiful white complexion was perspiring. Bhagavatam explains the beads of perspiration on this beautiful white complexion looks like snowflakes. His large lotus eyes, his earring, it was beautiful, and he was looking very, very beautiful, dancing with the gopis. Then he looked towards Yamuna river and cried out, Yamuna, come here, we want to swim and we want to do water sports with you. Yamunadi never, she has heard such a request before. So seeing Balaram with his eyes rolling and laughing like she was thinking he is very much intoxicated. So she didn't come. But Balaramji wanted to show to the world that you should not underestimate the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He became transcendently angry. How dare you defy my order? Today I'll bring you my own power with the tip of my plow and I'll catch your hundreds of streams. Then he took the plow and he headed into Yamuna and began to pull her. When Devi, she saw the personified form of Kalindi, she stood before Balaram with the folded palms. O mighty Balaram, who could possibly understand your magnitude and strength? All the universes are resting upon just a small portion of your energy, and please forgive me. I did not understand your powers. I'm just so negligent. And she cried out like this. Now I am surrendering to you. I am your devotee, and kindly please protect your devotees and please accept me. This way, Balramji was satisfied. She surrendered her life. Actually, Yamuna Devi is the divine water that descended from the spiritual world, and it eternally flows in Goloka Vrindavan. And it always facilitates the sweet loving pastime of Radha and Krishna, the Gopa and the Gopis. When Krishna descends into this world, he brings Yamuna, Govardhan, the forest of Kalparvrikshas of the Vraja from the spiritual world, and his eternal associates like Surabhi cows, Nityasiddha devotees, and so on and so forth. He allows the pure devotees who have perfected their lives from this material world to enter into the pastimes to be trained by Nityasiddha devotees so they could return to Golaka at the other end, at the end of the Leela in this world. This is the point here, devotees. This prema that we are talking about is really, really blissful. It's not something that we can imagine or we cannot we can understand. But when you compare that with Brahma Jyoti merging into Brahman, that is just a teeny tiny speck where there is no connection of emotions at all when it comes to Brahma Jyoti. It's just a static feeling. You'll not have material suffering. That's about it. But the state of bliss, no, it's not felt with Brahma Jyoti. I just wanted to give these examples to prove the fact that how prema is so superior to the Brahma Jyoti that we are talking about. So with this, we will try to pause today's session and continue in our next class with the next particular verse that we will be asked to talk about. So with this, dear devotees, I will pause my session. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrind ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to my Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for that powerful, beautiful session from the essence of prema and really what we should not be looking forward to, the types of liberation, and what we really need is the masses of devotees. We cannot really get there without a pure devotee with us to walk us through. And also you touched on how to try not have offenses that are really blocking the potency of the holy name. And as I was mentioning that, I had just read this book. It's by Sivaram Swami, and he said the biggest offense is inattention. If we can only try to be attentive, I think other offenses will come, and also try my best to be attentive even in this session and giving so much nectar. So thank you so much. And also the pastime of Gopal Kumar. It's, the essence of prema. Now that we have the knowledge, it is really there. It exists in our reality. I think it's upon us to do everything we can to try and achieve it now that we have the opportunity. And eventually, wrapped up with Balaram and Krishna's pastime. That pastime is so, I don't know what to say, but I always feel like my heart is so cold that if I'm not crying, listening or reading about that pastime, I feel so bad because it's just so moving. The separation, the gopis, the love for Krishna the gopis have is just too much. But so thank you so much, and thank you for that beautiful discourse. I'd like to open up to any comments or questions from Mataji from the other devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes, as always, a nice session again. Yes, how we are always like liberation. We used to think like liberation is the best thing, but later only we understood like no, not just liberation. Bhakti is even more important than liberation, and serving Krishna, that attitude. And unless and until we serve, then we will not be satisfied at all. Like it is an important lesson to learn. Very nice Mataji class. It was very beautiful. With as Prabhuji already mentioned. So I was wondering, Mataji. Now, when we are thinking about serving Krishna, but in material world we have so many, like health issues or something or the other we have to do. Even for me, every day it's a challenge. Morning, waking up immediately, so many things to do, like household chores and that and this and then chanting, we have to read, we have to attend classes, all that. In material world it is like this, but in Vaikuntha, or when we go back to Godhead, then there won't be like that. It will be completely like we can serve the God without any problem. That's what I think. That's why I want to go back, so that we can serve without any interruptions, or with like a playful way, like where it doesn't feel like a chore anymore. Like when we here, sometimes it feels like a chore. Even serving God also feels like a chore, or sometimes it becomes mechanical chanting. So I just wanted to ask you, Mataji, how to make it more like whether we stay whichever planet we are in, even like they are saying, even if you send us to like the most darkest regions like Naraka, still as long as I remember you, I'm okay. That's what they say. But it is hard to remember Krishna when we are in distress, or like that. So I just want to make like ask you, how should we make here only, like even though on Earth planet we are dealing with so many balancing everything, how to make it like Vaikuntha here itself?
Yes, yes, that is just as the faith, Mataji. That's everything is nothing but faith, okay? Why they are telling is even in hell, but they're asking Lord the benediction that I want to remember you. Wherever that place is not going to be an hindrance for you. All I'm asking is that continuous, that's uninterrupted, the uninterrupted thinking of the Lord has to be felt in my minds all the time. It has to, that's where samadhi comes into play and so on and so forth, right? I mean, that's like uninterrupted, it's not interrupted by karma, jnana, nothing. That happens as our faith, Drida Shraddha, increases. The more faith we have on the Supreme Lord, okay, He took away this from me, He took away that from me, and what is now remaining? It's just nothing. That's okay, Krishna, but I just need you and your love. That's all. It doesn't matter for you now, okay, that you lost your job, you have no food to eat, you have nothing to live, and it's just a barren land that you have, or nothing also. But even then, it doesn't bother you at all. All your concern now is, just to remember Krishna, even in the difficult times. Dukkha and Sukha, no, they are not of any, they don't disturb your mind. Only it's Krishna's thoughts, Krishna's feelings. How can I hear about him? How can I see him? How can I do something for him? This is all happening because you've attained that stage of Drida Shraddha where 100% faith on Krishna no matter what happens. So as we increase and increase our faith on Krishna, that He is my protector, He is my everything. That's when that Shraddha comes, Mataji, and it will come with time for sure. And that's where we need that, for that bridge to be connected, we need the mercy of the pure devotees. Only a person who has that can give that. So
Yes.
need that mercy to connect that bridge that is there currently.
Yes, in practical, we are seeing now Jai Patak Maharaj is suffering so much, but still he is chanting.
Absolutely.
Even in this kind of, yeah, it's amazing. Like I can't even think. Little bit of pain here and there, I'm already
Nothing
forgetting
bothers.
Krishna. Yeah,
Yeah, nothing bothers them. They are just pure
yes,
devotees of the Lord.
yes, 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 Mataji. Thank you, thank you. Yes,
Of
Hare
course.
Krishna.
Hare
Beautiful.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much, Gayatri Mataji. I would like to, if there's no other comment or question, I would like to kindly ask Your Grace Prashanta Atmadas Prabhuji to kindly end the session for us today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you
Hare.
for allowing me to end the session. And Hare Krishna Mataji. Greetings to you. Thank you for the wonderful class today. I'm sorry, I was munching on some prashadam before Murali got me a bit of that. But I'm thankful, Mataji. Thank you also for the wonderful pastimes. You always give us so much nectar, Mataji. It's so enjoyable. And like yesterday, an example was given about how the four Kumaras could only access Krishna by the mercy of Tulsi Devi, a pure devotee. So it's just reminding me, like every day, it just resonates. Every day in these classes, we are able to access Krishna through our very pure devotees, our very good lecturers who are giving us wonderful, sweet classes. You see the wonderful pastimes, Gop Kumar pastimes, Krishna, and Balaram pastimes. So it's very wonderful, Mataji. So thank you very much. We appreciate you and thank you for being consistent also with us, being merciful to us despite our turnout sometimes here and there. But yeah, it's always been a good journey and we always appreciate you. So thank you very much. With that, I'd like to request the assembled devotees to please let's unmute and appreciate Her Grace Radhika Kasturi Devidasi for the wonderful nectar today. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Vancha
Vacha
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव
kalpataruभ्यश्च
च
पतितानां
पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो
नमो
नमः।
नमः।
Srila
ग्रन्थराज
Prabhupada ki.
श्रीमद् जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
Jai.
हर ग्रेट राधिका कस्तूरी माता
All
जी की
glories to the assembled
जय।
devotees. All glories to Srila
अनंत
Prabhupada.
कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
जय।
हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Mataji.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day today. We'll see you next class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.